But let's go.
Let's go, dude. I'm just gonna have my beer just chilling right here,
Yeah, same.
waiting waiting to finish the coffee. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah,
gonna
have you
throw
tried
that
any of
back.
those like off-brand beers and wines? They're not bad, man.
I've had like a couple from like Trader Joe's. They got
Yeah,
like some different wines and stuff there.
that 2 buck
We
chuck.
yeah, I haven't tried the 2 buck chuck, but I heard about that before.
It's
From one of
amazing.
my buddies, dude. He loves going to Trader Joe's and picking up those wines and whatnot,
Yeah, with
those
inflation
beers.
now it's like $3 a bottle. But man, they have a really good amount of selection. It's they have Merlots and Cabernets, everything you'd want, and it actually tastes pretty damn good. I was surprised.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, they definitely have that craft market, cornered. I mean, you don't have to have like a big label name, right? To make a
Oh
good
no.
product.
Yeah, and the marketing and everything is just jacks the price up. I don't want that. I just
Yeah, yeah,
just
for
want a
sure.
good drink.
I just want beer that's that I can purchase and drink for sure and enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So what's going on, dude?
Not much, man. Just chilling. I wanna what is it? Man, it's just so much stuff is happening so fast, man, with the skirmishes and stuff and yeah, I mean, you know that firsthand more than anyone.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's been a pretty long weekend. I mean, you can attest to that yourself. You co-host with AJ at a pretty big event. What was it, 64 players for the collective skirmish event, man? On what, Saturday?
Yeah, 64. It was nuts. I competed in this like bash tournament like two months ago, and I was only I think around 30 players. But when I saw 64, it was just insane. Going down the Discord list, seeing all those
Yeah,
people.
yeah, it's crazy. Everybody in the Discord. I've never been in a Discord like that before, right?
Yeah,
Where it's like everybody's in the chat. It's like 60 something people.
and it's funny because it really just piles on instantly. Like at 9:36, there'll be like nobody in there, and then like 5 minutes later, just everyone bum rushes in at the same time to get into the event.
Ooh, that's good.
Oh,
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's definitely a frenzy. But the cool thing, in that I originally thought was going to be an issue, is that everybody's pretty like, everyone minds their p's and q's in the chat, right? You have like 64 people all in one chat, and you're thinking, all right, some dude's going to start popping off and just saying something crazy,
oh yeah,
But yeah, it was super cool. I
it's
mean,
usually
these
pretty
events, man, have
quiet.
been great so far. Yeah, so
Yeah, how have you been enjoying it? Because you've been in a lot. How many have you been in now, man? It must be over 10, right?
yeah. I think
I love it.
yeah. I've just been trying to do the grind, man. Play some games, and stream and create some content. I think it's 12 now that I'm in, that I've done so far. So I mean, I've played mostly in just US events.
Hmm.
But there's been a few overseas events that I've been lucky enough to get the opportunity to play in. One in Greece this morning at 4:30 our time, which was pretty crazy.
I
We
respect
did
that grind, man.
yeah. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, my schedule's been crazy. I've been
Mm.
going to bed at 10 o'clock at night, which I usually won't go to bed till like 1 o'clock. Because I usually work like late nights. But been trying to go to bed early and then wake up super early. Today I had to wake up, what, 4:15, 4:30.
Mm.
I'm like sitting in the kitchen. It's dark out, which I'm not used to, which is crazy. My cat's like over here meowing at me, and I'm trying to like make my coffee and still listen to roll call on the phone because I'm like just stumbling around, running late. It's been a little hectic on my schedule, but I love it, man. I can't get enough of it, and it's been great.
That's awesome. And how what is it? How have your you've won a couple too. So what were the big prizes in those? I've never asked you that, man.
Yeah, so I think, for me personally, I mean, like the big gain here is just one, being able to play and trying to like better my game.
Mm.
Play with some really good players around the country that I wouldn't normally be able to get the chance to play with. And obviously experience points, I'm trying to I'm trying to get as many points as I can, trying to climb up those leaderboards, which is pretty cool. As far as prizing, I'm pretty sure all of the prizing so far has been like participation based, and that'll get sent randomly from Legend Story Studios, which is awesome. It incentivizes players to sign up and play in these things. You got competitive players, you got new players.
You got
It's been
investors.
great, man. Yeah, you got investors. You know what I mean? Trying to like
Just get that
dabble in
participation.
playing a little bit. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's been great, man. Yeah, the prizes, those will get announced. I guess the winners. I take it they're just gonna do like a random drawing, like a random generator or something. On the computer. There's plenty of those out there.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I think they're gonna announce those like sometime this week, which is pretty exciting, man, for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool to see how that rolls out and seeing all those pictures of people getting the cards and such from Legend Story Studios. And man, that's such a big commitment too. I was baffled that they did that because they create the trading card game. They create the cards and send them out to people to distribute, but to have them personally send out cards to the
Oh
individual
yeah,
people, man, that's an operation.
yeah, yeah. It's huge on Legend Story taking on that big responsibility as well. I mean that's a lot of money in shipping costs. It's just great all the way around. It's a win-win for players. Um, it's a win for the shops that get to make some revenue in a
Mhm.
time where it's kind of like, it's not easy to make revenue in COVID times, especially from a card game or like games that you have to play around people and things like that. And it's a win for the company because they get to promote their game, spread the love of the game, and it's awesome, man. I love it.
Yeah. There's one thing too, man, Rob. I haven't asked you yet. What's up with the Tolarian Dropouts? Is that an homage to something, man?
Yeah, so I grew up playing Magic, casually, a little bit competitive here and there, but I grew up playing Magic, right? And
Mhm.
I got in when I was young, around that like Urza era.
Oh, you
And
got in Urza's?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
that's
When I was young,
magic.
man. Yeah, that's when like Magic was like magic,
Yeah.
was that Urza block was really cool. Obviously, even before that, I was a little too young at the time, but was some great sets and whatnot. But yeah, so I was like really drawn into the lore as a kid, and Urza and Yawgmoth and the battles, the
Yeah.
Brothers War and Mishra and just Talaria as a you know just the lore, just drawn into the lore in general. And it's kind of a play on words, right? Because like the Tolarian school, like the school for all the mages or whatnot,
Mhm.
in Talaria, and things like that. So it's kind of like a play on words. Like I used to play Magic, and I dropped out of Magic to start playing Flesh and Blood. So I'm a
Oh,
Tolarian dropout. You
I
know what I
get
mean?
it. Did you do it before you got into Flesh and Blood or after? Like that username?
Yeah, so I guess so when I was playing Magic with some of my buddies, a couple years back, we had, like a little group chat or whatever, and I was like, "Oh man, it would be so cool if like we created a team or, made a team." And I was never like really good like that, but and I kind of came up with the idea, "Oh man, I think Tolarian Dropouts just sounds really cool." So shot it by my buddies and nothing ever came about it and whatever. And so I always kind of had that idea for that name like in the back of my head. And then it just kind of popped up again when I started playing Flesh and Blood.
Mm.
I was playing like a lot of Commander, and then the whole COVID thing happened, and I, obviously just kind of I stopped playing Magic. We couldn't go gather and play Commander, play EDH, in pods at our local shops. Everything was pretty locked down, so I kind of stopped playing that. But yeah, I thought it was fitting, especially so once I stopped playing Magic and started playing Flesh and Blood, and then it was like I kind of want to make like a team or a channel or something. What am I gonna call it? All right, well, I'm gonna call it this.
Because I really
Uh,
like your graphics too, your channel. I mean, red and black are just really badass, and
yeah, I
you
appreciate that,
you
man.
got Alucard in the back of your playmat, right? I
Yeah,
really liked that anime back in the day. It was really badass.
yeah, yeah, super cool. Yeah, I loved yeah, that anime there, man. I'll actually show you the playmat. Yeah, so I got this made a long time ago. Speaking of magic stuff, I used to play a Edgar Markov like vampire tribal commander deck or whatever, and so I was like really into vampires. I had my deck, um, and I loved this anime, so I was like, I just wanted to get a playmat made. So yeah, that's the playmat right there. Looks kind of
The,
cool.
that's awesome, man. That's
Yeah,
it. You
that's
got
it
it
right
made?
there, man. Yeah, yeah, I got it printed. From one of the companies. They you can just go online, upload an image, as long as you're not like breaking any rules. And obviously, like I'm not trying to like sell the playmat or anything
Yeah,
crazy like that, or add company logos onto it. It's
yeah.
just for me. So it's something that I really have I've had for quite some time.
That's cool, man.
And yeah, I definitely think it's cool, man. I appreciate you pointing that out, man. You complimenting it right there, because
Has
something that
anybody
I
else
really
pointed
really
out?
like.
Because I knew it right when I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A couple people, man, have like commented on the YouTube videos, and said, "Yo, oh, that's a sick mat, dude. Where'd you get that?" And I was like, "Oh, I had it made." So it's cool, man. Yeah, I love it. I like playing on it. It's visually like stimulating to me. I love that like black and red. It just looks edgy, fast. Heavy metal.
Yeah, it gets you pumped.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
gets me pumped, ready to go.
yeah, and hey, so you said you started in the Urza's block, which is really fascinating to me, man. Because I mean, I got into Magic the Gathering like way late down the chain. I don't even know when I was a kid I got into it, but as an adult, I became better at like just liking the cards for the artwork, and liking it for the
Yeah,
style and the theme behind it, and really became a big collector, and I saw the alpha cards and the beta, and I thought, wow, these are cool. These are really a big piece of Magic the Gathering history. And what really struck me, man. Well, I went through like all the different sets, and I looked at literally every single card. And when I got to
right.
the Urza's block, I was blown away. I thought,
Yeah,
holy shit, this is insane. The art and the style behind those cards it's just very special for the time period for Magic the Gathering. Like and I was not in that time period, but I mean, did you know about other cards previously in Magic the Gathering? And was it a big thing at the time, Urza's?
yeah. So I mean, I was pretty young when I got in. Right, I have an
Hmm.
older brother. His name's Dave, and he's 10 years older than me. So he was playing or picked it up and brought it home one day and was like showing me how to play, and we were kind of learning. And he would bring home booster packs and stuff like that, and we'd open it up. So I mean, that was like my first exposure to Magic.
Mm,
Uh, and like you said, man, the art was super cool. I think it was either Urza's Legacy or Urza's Destiny. I want to say it was Legacy. I'm not sure. It was one of the two that featured foil cards for the first time as well.
hmm.
From what I remember, Urza's Saga did not have foil cards, but they introduced like the crazy cool old school foiling with the shooting star at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, I know
Um,
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
yeah,
the first block in the Urza Saga, I think it was Urza Saga. You're right. That did not
yeah.
have
There's
foiling, but I think Urza's
yeah,
Legacy was the first time that they had foiling, and yet the foils on those cards look
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. It was just mind blowing. You know what I mean? Like I was just like blown away. I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I was always into like fantasy, reading fantasy books and watching like fantasy movies and stuff like that, sci-fi fantasy growing up, and having two older brothers, you know what I mean? Like I definitely adopted a lot of their interests and stuff like that. Maybe a little ahead of my time at the age, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, so that I was really drawn to it, like you said, man, drawn to the art, the flavor texts. You know, I actually would go and buy the books because they used to release books, like every set that, excuse me, that would like detail.
They had books, like lore books?
Yeah, lore books. Yeah,
I didn't know
yeah. I mean,
that.
yeah, they still have them, man.
I'll have to look at
You
that.
know, so there would be like time periods like the Brothers' War was like this story of like Mishra and Urza, and they were brothers, and like they had this big war blowout in the Antiquities era, and then you know it went on to like Yawgmoth, this evil like you know demonic kind of force that you know came through and that had a big war with Urza. um, you know, it's been so long since I've read it, but you know, then you know, Urza was like defeated, and like his planeswalker spark, you know, came about or whatever. There's like, and then
You
it
went
moved into
deep in
like,
that lore, man.
yeah, I mean, I
That's
don't really
awesome.
remember too much of it now, but I was reading it when I was younger, you know, and
Mhm.
like moving into like the Mercadian Mask, the Mask block with like Nemesis and Prophecy, Mercadian Masks, stuff like that. And they had Judgment and Torment. Man, that was like that was the time I was like really heavy into Magic as a kid, and just reading the books, man, it was super cool. You know, I was definitely into it. So that was like my first exposure to like card games, trading card games. You know.
Yeah, and what's really neat is that stuff, the whole backstory of everything, the lore really gets you invested, I think. And once Flesh and Blood and Legend Story Studios, I definitely think they have focus. And right now, their focus is on gameplay. But then once that kind of transitions, we're gonna get more into the lore, I think, and that's when people really gonna get some hearts for the game and get
Yeah.
emotionally involved. And that's what I'm looking forward to, like the biggest. Because man, you know that like, I mean, if a company's name is Legend Story Studios, I mean,
Yeah, you
they've
know it's
got to
gonna be
have some
epic.
epic lore in store for us. And yes, oh, how do you get into Flesh and Blood?
Yeah, so I got into Flesh and Blood. I was a Patreon of Rudy's a while back, you know, again from interest in Magic. And I was watching YouTube one day, and I just stumbled across a video of him opening some Flesh and Blood boxes and talking about Flesh and Blood. And I, you know, I've seen tons of different card games over the years. I've never really gotten into any other card game other than Magic. But then, you know, I'm looking at these cards on this video, and I'm like, wow,
Yeah,
this looks like a lot like Magic to me. Um, with the art especially. I mean, some of the art on some of the cards, especially like the more brutal style cards, reminded me so much of that early era Magic,
yeah,
where it was like raw art, um, you know, not like you know,
fairies and princes and
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, you know, fairy tale stuff. And not a knock on that,
yeah, not at
you
all.
know,
But we're a grown ass men. You know, I want to see grown ass
right.
cards, and if I see blood spattering everywhere when it deems that necessary, then yeah, you know, I'm gonna be drawn to that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean that's it's that brutal art, you know,
Yeah,
that's on like a mangle, you know what I mean? Or
yeah,
like that's on like you know, massacre or you know, just some of these cards, you look at them, you're like, "Whoa, that's really brutal," you know, snag, you know, just like some crazy cards out there and it's like, "Whoa, this is like really cool." You know, it just reminded me of like my childhood playing like Mortal Kombat, you know what I mean? And just
yeah,
kicking it with my brothers and like in a time where you didn't have to like tiptoe around everything. And everything was just kind of like a little bit more innocent, it felt like. But yeah, I mean, I you know, the art is just amazing. I mean, these guys went in on the artist budget for sure. You can tell because the artwork in general is just so good.
oh for
Yeah,
sure, and the
I,
card layout and everything like that, and the
yeah,
verbiage of each card. It doesn't feel. I think there's a balance too with the verbiage. You don't want it to be too crazy to where you don't understand everything that's going on, but Yeah, the card artwork and just the layout is just really cool. So you're drawn
Yeah,
in when you saw, and Rudy's awesome. I mean, I think I've talked to so many people and I've heard how he's gotten them into the game, and I honestly I probably got into the game from him too. I've watched a bunch of his videos about Flesh and Blood before I got in. Um,
yeah,
I probably was, and that guy is so nice. I mean, I made
yeah.
this video about him where it was it. There's this conspiracy theory of this Crucible War box that he opened for the
Oh
what is
yeah,
it?
yeah. Where you got
Yeah,
the
he got
shard.
a shard and a tunic in the same box, and there was so
Yeah,
many people that were just flaming on Reddit saying, "What the heck? This doesn't make sense." The
right, right.
probability of those two being in the same box is insane. But after that, I think I have heard a lot of people out there in the community get that, depending on how the print run was put into boxes. Like maybe there's duplicate boxes that have that same combo in it. I don't know, but the odds were really low. But he's such a classy dude, man. He commented on that video that I made of him saying he's a conspiracy theory. He's like, "Hey, love your stuff. Really
Yeah,
cool
that's
guy."
awesome, man. Yeah, he's a really cool guy. Puts on great content. I definitely don't think that that was a seeded box or like a planted box. I mean, I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
I've seen a shard and a crunic in one box. But to kind of piggyback off a little bit of your original question, how I got into Flesh and Blood. That's initially that's what sparked my interest. And then I was like, okay, where do I go play this game? Where do I go get this game?
Hmm.
How can I find players in my area? The whole nine yards. So I go on the website, fabtcg.com. I look up a little bit more into the game. I'm looking up events locator, stores that may carry it around me.
Hmm.
And lo and behold, there was like the only store in Orlando at the time was the Cloak and Blaster out by the east side of town.
Hmm.
And so I called up and I was like, "Hey, you guys sell this game, Flesh and Blood?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, we sell it." And uh, whoever had answered the phone at the time was like, "Hang on a second, let me go get Matt. He runs like the Flesh and Blood there." So she put Matt on, and I was talking to Matt for a bit, and he was super cool. Never had met the guy, and he's like, "Yeah, man, come down sometime." I told him I was like, a Magic player, played Magic, for a bit,
Hmm.
and he's like, "Yeah, dude, come on down. I'll throw you an Ira deck, one of those sealed intro decks." He's
Hmm.
like, "We got plenty of product. I'll teach you how to play." And I had told him that I watched a couple videos or whatever, so I kind of got the gist of the game. And I went down there one day. I think I bought out the rest of the product of whatever they had. I think they
Nice.
had like a couple boxes of Arcane Rising back then.
Was this in like
Um,
June or something? June 2020?
this was yeah, probably around like June or July. May. No, it was like July. Yeah, maybe like July, August.
Hmm.
Maybe somewhere around there. I don't really remember. But uh yeah, so I went in there. I bought up all of his Crucible, and then or not his Crucible. Crucible wasn't out. I bought up the Arcane. It was like a couple boxes just to get in the game because I was hooked. He showed me how to play. We played like a couple rounds,
Hmm.
and I was hooked, man. After that, so um, yeah, I went home, opened these boxes up. I'm like, okay, what am I looking at? I still didn't know anything about the game really, or like what I was looking at. So I called up some other stores, within I don't know 100 miles of me, and I wound up driving down to Tampa, and I hit up two shops down there that had some Welcome to Wraith and some Arcane Rising. I wound up getting like two cases of Arcane Rising and like another couple boxes of Welcome to Wraith. Went right home, and I was thinking to myself, oh, maybe I'll like keep one box sealed just for nostalgia, and then I start opening a box, and then I'm like, you know what, screw it, I'm opening all of it. You know what I mean? I want to play this game.
Oh yeah, you
So
got the bug hard.
yeah, yeah, definitely did, man. So that's yeah, Matt. I definitely thank Matt, man. Matt got me into the game. He showed me the way. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody that played the game. I didn't know, nobody. Like, I didn't have a friend or any friends that were like, "Hey, check this game out. It's really cool. Let me show you how to play." Nothing like that. I didn't know anybody in the community. This was like the first time I had picked up like a new game.
Hmm.
So it was super cool, man. And just I've never looked back from there. It's just been a wild ride, and I'm really happy that I saw that video from Rudy, and I called Matt because I can't get enough of Flesh and Blood, man. It's amazing.
That's awesome, man. And yeah, what is it? Matt runs the Fab Arsenal. I talked to him recently, and man,
Yeah,
he's a really cool guy. And it was cool hearing him too. It seemed like he had the same view as you when he saw Flesh and Blood and he got into it. He just said, okay, this thing's gonna pop. This thing, there's
yeah,
something to this game that's gonna make it really good. And it's the fact that when you feel that feeling and then realize that this game is still just starting up and starting to grow, it's just such a great time to be in it. I mean, I was the same way, man. When I saw stuff from crew popping, and I was like, okay, I got to get into this game. I got to see why are people buying this game so much. I mean, it just doesn't make
yeah,
sense. Like I saw this one site when I first got into the game. Literally everything was available for cruise for like Welcome to Wrath and Arcane Rising and the hero
yeah.
decks. Everything was available. Everything was good, right? The next day, the site was deleted. Everything was just sold out, and I thought,
Oh my
okay,
god.
what the fuck is going on here? Like,
Yeah, what the hell happened?
what does someone know that I don't know? And from that point on, I just dug into it. I was like, okay, what do the cards do? What's happening here? And then from that point on, I just real it's just I kept getting woke to the fact that like, okay, the gameplay is amazing. Holy shit. And then
Yeah,
I looked into the lore and the artwork and it thought, oh my gosh, these people are really smart. The people who run this and just the more and more you think about it with the PVE content, hopefully, and with everything going on, and it was a small studio that's running it. It's just the
yeah,
sky's the limit to it, man. It's I don't know.
yeah. I totally agree, man. I mean, it's a great game. It drew me in because of the way it looks and because of I didn't even play the game, but
Yeah.
just the artwork and the layout and the way the game looked just reminded me so much of like my youth and Magic and getting really excited about a game and learning a game.
And something you said
And then
too. Oh, yeah. Oh,
uh, I was
something
gonna say
oh, yeah, we're
keep
good.
going. Yeah, yeah,
Well, something you said too, man. I'm the same way with you. I didn't have anyone out there who's my friend who said, Bronson, you got to play this game. You got to try this out. You
yeah,
got to play with me in person and in my local thing. No, I saw a video and I got hooked, and then I went out into the community and started hitting people up, and I started getting involved, and it's just cool how we were talking earlier about the more people you talk to, the more people you're like, oh wow, everyone's a cool person. I want
yeah.
to just meet more people. And like you, man. And then I met you. I was like, oh, cool. And then I saw what you're doing recently with stream, man, and it's awesome. And you're
Oh, I appreciate
basically
that,
just
man.
constantly
Thanks.
grinding, streaming, putting it out there, and it's just really cool to see because I mean that kind of shit is gonna get more and more popular. I think as people get into this game.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that, dude. I'm just trying to bring some competitive gameplay content out to the community out there. I think we live in a day and age where we're so lucky that we get,
Mhm.
so much content. We're fiending for content always, right? You always want like, something now, right? You think of an idea and you're like, okay, well, I I want to watch some competitive gameplay. Where
Mhm.
do I find it? And I think that was kind of the question going through my head before I started doing all this. I was going on YouTube and just trying to find competitive gameplay so that I could become a better player and watch
Mhm.
other people play the game. And I just felt like there was a severe lack in that department out there. There was a couple good streams, good videos, stuff like that from the guys on the other side of the world over in Australia and New Zealand. Um, but just in general, I just couldn't find a whole lot of stuff out there. So I just felt that there was a need for that, and I just hopefully I'm filling that need a little bit. I'm doing what I love doing, and that's playing the game. So if I can you know, put the streams on and stuff like that while I'm playing and everyone's enjoying it, man, that's a win-win for everybody, I guess, right?
Oh, for sure, you're doing that, man. I mean, I really wish I could do that type of stuff. I'm not as competitive though. I don't have that spirit as much. I love playing the game. The game's a lot of fun, and it is nice to be in a tournament here or there. I just never had that huge drive. But what's beautiful about your stuff too, and what I think is really accessible is like literally the content you make is literally like just playing the game competitively. So when you do it, how is your setup? So if somebody wanted to get into this, Rob, like
Yeah.
like what kind of technical stuff do you have on the background? And do you literally just like get into a game and just like hit like 5 or 6 buttons and then put the stream on and then done, or is there's a lot of stuff in the background? Because on my end it looks really technical. What are you
Right,
up to?
right. Right, for sure. So, I to kind of put this in perspective, uh 3 months ago, I didn't have a computer. Uh my girlfriend, has a computer that we got her, and I just went on the internet from my phone. Like I just never needed a computer. I don't
Hmm.
do any work on the computer really for my job. So this is super easy. You're talking like this is coming from a guy who knows nothing about computers. The programs in this day and age are so user friendly. uh yeah, I think you nailed it on the head. It's literally like I click a few buttons, 5 buttons. I hit up the shop, to ask them for their logo so I could throw it
Hmm.
on the stream so they can get some kind of free advertisement out of it, and just they could show their friends and their fans of their shop and their customers, and people all around the world, stuff like that. Try to bring some focus to them. But it's like it's I literally start the stream as I'm in roll call, right when it's almost done, and it's going, and I just kind of like improved on it over time. My first one I did,
Hmm.
there was no music, right? And then eventually, like I got the music on there, so that was kind of cool because I was like, okay, there's a waiting screen, right?
Hmm.
And it's just dead silence. So let me get some cool music. So I got some cool rock music there on there. But you kind of like build it up over time. You rewatch your videos, see what you did wrong, see what you can improve on, um, and just say to yourself, how can I make this better? I
Yeah.
like the way it looks. What else can I add to it? What can I change the positions of certain things? I mean, the program I use is Streamlabs OBS, and it's great, man. I ran into like a technical issue one time, and they have a Discord server, and you literally just join the Discord server. You type in whatever your issue is,
Hmm.
and within seconds you have an answer. To
Wow.
it's incredible to me. I've never ever received any kind of like customer service on that level where it's like I have no idea what I was doing. I just watched YouTube videos to get to this point. Now I feel like I'm having an issue with this. This is what I need done.
Hmm.
This is my dilemma. I typed it out, just done like this answer, So I
Yeah,
mean it's super easy, man. You just download the program, you go through like different stream layouts and stuff like that, and you pick what looks good to you, and then you could just start customizing it, adding things, changing things on there, just kind of like getting creative and just getting lost in it. Really,
that's cool.
it's really
So
not a lot.
it's Streamlabs, so you download that, and then after that, when you have it on your desktop, you probably have to. There's like preset stuff that you can customize. You're saying, and then when you get into a game, all you have to do is just like hit. Okay, I want to start streaming, and do you do it on like Twitch and YouTube, or?
So the program Streamlabs, you have to pay for like a service. I think it's called Streamlabs Prime.
Hmm.
But when you have that subscription to that service or whatever, through the program, it broadcasts simultaneously to your YouTube account, your Twitch account, and my Facebook gaming page for Tolarian Dropouts all at one time,
Wow.
which is great. And then I have, individual settings on each of those platforms to save the video after it's finished recording. So it just posts the stream to the platform, and it just stays there, so you can go back and watch it. It's incredibly easy. I mean, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I mean, it's just incredibly easy, man.
That's cool. And what type of
Yeah. I mean, you don't
engagement
you don't
have
need.
Oh, I'm sorry. What do you
Keep going.
Oh, what platform do you think you get like the most like traction and people like engaging like with chat and everything? Is it like Twitch or
It depends, man. So I think the most action I've gotten, I think is from the Facebook fan page. So like through Facebook. So like Flesh and Blood has a fan page, right, on
Mhm.
Facebook, and a lot of players from all around the world are on that. These guys in New Zealand who are great. Couple in Australia. Players in Canada, just all around the world. The United States especially. But so I post like I start streaming directly to my gaming page, and then I'll go in and share it to the Facebook fan page, so that it's like right there on the page. The moderator's super cool with me doing it. I asked him, he's like, "Yeah, man, go ahead. That's super cool." So everyone sees it there, and then can just like click on it and then comment, and then interact with me. I get some action of some people on YouTube that hop in. You know,
Mhm.
just all the channels have been great. Twitch, a couple buddies of mine, AJ, in fact, he's been awesome. He'll be streaming and like finish a stream or something, and then like he's done. I don't know 100% about it, but he'll like pop in. It says like AJ's here raiding your party or something like that, and he's got like a bunch of people with him of his followers. So like he brings them over to my stream. They're all watching and interacting. It's really cool. The
Yeah.
software itself, Streamlabs, like there's a window that's a chat, right? And you can set what platforms you pull your chat to.
Mhm.
Obviously, I'm not big time or anything, so I let it all get in there, all three. So I'm trying to just engage with everybody. Anyone that's like hopping into the to watch the stream and type in, just chatting with me. It's super cool to me to be able to like communicate with those people as I'm playing or in between rounds. And the Streamlabs software just pops up right on the
Mhm.
screen on the stream, or whatever. So that's super cool, man.
Yeah, and AJ's doing really cool stuff too with that stuff. I think he used to
Oh yeah, yeah,
Streamlab
he's
and
killing it.
yeah, when I did the co-hosting thing for the collective with him with the Adventure Co Gaming, I thought it was really neat how he like not only had the really nice visuals on the background when there was the gameplay, he was able to sync up the tables, but he was able to like have it transition to us afterwards. I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
There's this one time too where I didn't see it coming, so it was like eating a muffin, and it pans to my face, and I'm just like,
Oh no,
but it's awesome.
knee
I was
deep
just
in
like,
a chocolate chip muffin.
dude,
Blueberries on the chin.
it was blueberries, man. I ate like 8 blueberry muffins during that during that 7 hour what is it tournament. It was a fun time, but
Yeah,
yeah, that sounds really cool because I've been trying to update my aesthetics a little bit. I'll have to look into that because those programs seem really nice, especially when you're playing Flesh and Blood. Then it's really a thing where you're just literally doing what you wanted to do anyway,
yeah,
and you just click 5 different buttons, and then it just also shoots that video off to the World Wide Web so everyone can see it. And that's
yeah,
what's beautiful is it's like you would normally want to play Flesh and Blood anyway. That extra step that you have to go through is literally maybe 6 or 6 buttons or something. But granted, it's not as easy as that because once you start streaming, you have to be on your game, and if people are interacting with you in chat, you have to keep up with that too. So there's a lot going on with that too. And I mean, did was it so was Was it hard to grasp that when you're playing and interacting with chat? Because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know when I first started,
absolutely.
yeah, YouTube, it was hard talking just to a mic. Like it was a skill I had to develop over time. But yeah, yeah. Tell me about that experience of you starting out and what was it like?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think some of my early videos early on were like me just playing TTS, tabletop simulator, and
Hmm.
it was so hard to focus on the game, right? And like try to talk about the game and communicate what I was doing at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
Um but you develop it, man. I mean, it just becomes kind of like second nature, especially when you're doing it a lot and you're consistent with it. You just like, you kind of shake that like initial kind of like nerves and like the awkwardness and whatnot, and you be yourself, and
Yeah.
people like you for you, and you just talk to people. It's like I'll play my I'll play my game, and there'll rarely be times where like I'll click mute, you know what I mean, so that my opponent can't hear me, and then I'll like try to talk to chat too, or I'll
Hmm.
just throw like a quick little shout out because somebody's like, "Hey, what's up, Rob?" or something.
Yeah.
But for the most part, while I'm playing like in these skirmish events, I'm talking to my opponent, so I'm not really engaging with chat 100% of the time.
Mm.
But I try to kind of like recap the chat comments and stuff like that after my game, in between games, just to kind of like engage with these guys a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you kind of just you roll with it, right? You trial and error, and then you rewatch your videos. You're like, okay, wow. I think the first podcast I did with AJ, I said and like a lot. Uh,
I
so I that was
I'm with you
something that
there.
I had to, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
That's something that
I've done that too, man. I look at back at my some videos, I'm like, oh man, I said and like so many times.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's something that I'm trying to work on. I think that's just a natural thing I usually do. Uh, I personally, I think trying to talk slower sometimes helps that because it helps your brain catch up to what you're trying to say, and communicate clearly. So just little things, man. I try to work on that, but ultimately, man, I try to talk to people, and you just kind of like you kind of get used to just talking in a mic, and you
Mm.
can't really hear someone back, right? You read a chat, you almost read it to yourself, or a lot of times I'll just read it back out loud,
Mhm.
and it makes them feel, I would assume, that I'm engaging with them, and then that whatever they type is being read out loud, and that I'm replying to them, and everybody else can hear what they're saying because I'm repeating it. That helps me out a lot.
Yeah, I definitely think
So
that's huge. Yeah, when you read back and I've had that to me. Yeah, I think when I've chatted with you on your thing on your stream a couple times, it's nice to hear the person in the video, yeah, responding like we're having a conversation, or
yeah,
you acknowledge the fact that I typed to you. And what's really cool I liked hearing from you, man, is I'm the same way. Like I never did any YouTube type of thing before this, for before Flesh and Blood, and it's nice to know that there's other people like you that you just say, I love this game, I want to try something new, I want to do this, and you
yeah,
just do it. And of course, when I first started, I wasn't very good, I thought, but you get better over time. You rewatch your stuff and you think, okay, what could I have done better, worse? And it's the same with gameplay too, right? When you're playing
yeah,
games, do
hundred
you have to
percent.
say, okay, what did I do? How did I play? And how should I gotten better? You just, learn it and move forward.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree there. I feel like I've grown a lot as a player through these skirmish events, especially as well.
Hmm.
Just playing so much. I've been playing nonstop every weekend for the past like 3 weekends,
You're a
and
beast.
oh, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, like I said, man. I'm just trying to grind out that XP and get playing, get better. Um, and you learn a lot. The more you play, you just learn things. You learn different lines of play. You learn like different interactions. with cards and stuff like that, because we would play locally twice a week. That would usually be like 3 or 4 rounds, sometimes max like 6 rounds, 6 games, right?
Hmm.
Twice a week. So it is a good amount of games, but also when you're playing the same people over and over and over again with the same decks over and over and over again who play the same style week in and week out, you get kind of like complacent and you play around how they play.
Yeah.
When you're playing players all over the world at different skill levels, you learn a lot because you watch what other players are doing and watch how they're playing your deck. My buddy Davis, he's worked on the Dorinthia Tall deck with me throughout this skirmish event, and he plays it incredibly well, better than I play it. And I will go back and just watch like his games, just try to like hop into his game if I'm finished and he's still playing in the event. If I'm finished with my round, just to like catch his plays and see
Hmm.
how he's playing, because I learned so much from it because he plays differently than I do, and we're playing predominantly the same deck. Um, so you just learn a lot, man.
Yeah, Davis from Tower Number 9, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
he has really great content, and you're right. Like he is a really great warrior game. I mean, I've seen him play and I've seen you play, and what fascinates me about your play is it seems more of of a combo thing when you get that hit off and you can combo so many of Dorinthia's cards on top of
yeah.
each other. It's an insane because I remember when I was playing you one game, man. I think it was in that tournament where you routed my unmovable, and I was so pissed. I was like, "What
Oh
the heck?"
yeah,
But you came in for 16 damage or
yeah.
some 15
Something
damage,
crazy.
but it was all these combos on top of each other that was so cool to see. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's mostly I don't know if you can see these cards. It might not focus
yeah, I see.
on these
Twining
cards, but
Blade and Steel Blade
yeah,
Supremacy.
yep, Twinning Blade and Steel Blade Supremacy. That's the combo right there. If you can get that line off, right, where
Yeah.
you're just like you play Steel Blade and then you play Twinning Blade, so you potentially could swing 3 times, and then say you draw into another Twinning Blade and you're
Oh,
swinging for 4 times. You just like that's the Dorinthia deck, right? You're just kind of like mid-rangey, just trying to assemble this big blowout turn. Allows you to go really tall and wide, and you're just presenting a lot of damage. And that's kind of like what you work for. But there's other combos, other plays you can set up and stuff like that. But yeah, man,
yeah.
it's
So, what got you into Dorinthia? Like, I know you said you picked up Arc, and Arc doesn't have any Dorinthia. So, did you
yeah.
play a couple other heroes and be like, I don't know if this works, and then you played Dorian, you're like, yeah, this is my
Yeah,
jam.
the very first hero and deck I assembled was Kano,
Mhm.
and I learned quickly that that was like the wrong move. Trying to learn the game, because it played on this different access, right? It was like I'm trying to learn like this insane. I need 10 heads to play this deck class, and I played it for a little bit in Blitz, but I was brand new. And I was just kind of looking over other decks and other classes and whatnot. And Warrior just kind of like sparked my interest. It looked like a easy deck to just kind of like approach,
Mhm.
and was pretty just user friendly, and you could just walk into it, and it was a little bit easier to grasp 100% than Wizard. Kind of like a low floor, right? Low floor, but potentially really, a really high ceiling of like skill to set up turns and know when to go off with them, and pitch certain cards so you can get them back late game, and
Mhm.
just so many mechanics that you can just really take off in. But what got me into Warrior, yeah, I don't know. I just like the art. I like the card border on Dorinthia. And I just like that warrior feel. And then when I started playing the class, I'm just like, yeah, I just really like this deck. This is the deck for me. I
Yeah.
was play, a lot of my friends at the time were playing Ninja, so that was kind of like my arch nemesis.
Yeah. Yeah, and, I think, Dorinthea's blade is just that is a really powerful I think it's the most powerful
Yeah.
weapon in the game, arguably. I mean, just the
Yeah.
amount of, pressure that you can put on to where if you can get those stacks on the Dawn Blade, man, you just you can just take the game from there, but
Yeah.
I do know what you mean, man, like, Welcome to Wrath really does have a lower, learn cap, I'd say, for people getting into
Yeah.
the game. But that's not to say that it's a only low brain deck. No,
Sure.
you can
Sure.
definitely master it and do a bunch of things once you learn how to card count and you know what you're cycling through your deck and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's why I play Bravo, man, because it's like it's a very just simple class to pick up, and I really like I don't know, I just really like the big hits. But then
Yeah.
with Kano, yeah, I don't know how anybody could get into Flesh and Blood instantly, pick up Kano, and be like, oh yeah, I can do that. It's just you can definitely do it. It's just so hard to master that math in your mind and know when to push and when you can do that blowout turn. But it's definitely powerful. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, the Kano deck is just crazy. I really like Bravo, and like you said, on the surface, Bravo kind of looks really like self-explanatory, right? But
Hmm.
it's got a lot of intricacies that you have to like learn and learn the play lines. I mean, it could swing its weapon potentially for 6 damage every turn,
Yeah.
which is really good. Bravo's ability has this built-in dominate, which is insane.
Mm. Yeah, it's really good for closing out the games, I've felt. I mean, earlier game I tend not to use it unless I'm using it on a crippling crush.
Jeez,
But
yeah,
once I get into the once I can get a good dominate crippling crush, it's devastating.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the dominated crippling crush is just insane. Yeah, I think it's pretty nuts. I mean, just to have dominate built on your hero, man, is just pretty crazy.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and then the tectonic plating, you get to create a token with that, which puts a card potentially that could buff your weapon in the pitch zone. With the higher cost, and it's just a good built deck. It's got some nice defenses. Blessing of Deliverance, probably one of the best cards in the deck.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Def- Definitely a sleeper. I mean, for you to be able to reveal cards off the top of your deck, so mentally you know what's coming, right? Because you put them back in the order they come,
Hmm.
uh, and you get to filter a card when you play it, right? You play the card and then draw a card, right? Am I
Hmm.
right? Am I
Yep,
wrong? Like
yep.
depending on a
You play the card as long as you pitch a 3 cost card or more, you get to draw a card. And what's
yeah,
ridiculous on that is that if you if you draw into another blessings, which I've done many times, you can just double blessing again and then pick up
yeah,
another card, and it's just and then once you've had 2 cards down, then you can swing Anathos for 6. So next
yeah,
turn you could potentially gain 6 health, which is
yeah.
it's
It's a
just very
huge.
powerful. You're right. That's definitely a sleeper card, and I definitely think Stonewall Confidence. I don't know if you've seen top level play with that. It's like it's like a flick flack, but you have to preemptively do it. I mean,
Yeah,
I think that's another really good card, but it definitely does seem where when people are playing Ira now, it's because the cards all in the deck are like 0 cost card. I mean, that deck is usually people play like
that
30
deck's
0 cost
crazy.
cards, so you just keep playing and playing and playing. Bravo, it's more of you have to set up and do the long run, it feels, and
Yep.
and yeah, things are a
It's
little bit
setup deck.
slower. But to your point, man, the armor is insane. The armor is really good. There's a lot of you have the Goliath gauntlets that give you an extra 3 health essentially, and
Right?
yeah, you can pump out a lot of stuff. I mean, what have you seen with your gameplay? Like, so are you looking like you think Bravo's pretty strong? Like, who do you think are like the top tier, like really interesting heroes to you?
Yeah, I got two answers for you. I think the top tier meta
Hmm.
decks right now are Dorinthia, Warrior, Kano, Wizard, and Ira, right?
Hmm.
That's like this triangle. But I think that a really experienced, good Bravo player, like my boy Cale McCreath out there in New Zealand, it's just if you have the knowledge and the reps in with the deck
Hmm.
versus all these other matchups, you can just like take people to school, slam dunk on people left and right. I played Kale the other night and he just cleaned me out with Bravo all night, wiped the floor with me, and then gave me like a lesson, you know what I mean, afterwards. So that was super cool. But I'm definitely intrigued by Bravo for sure.
Hmm.
Um, it just it's just different. I haven't seen it a whole lot in these skirmish events. Everyone's just trying to play like these meta decks,
Hmm.
and that Bravo deck can come through and just house everybody because it's got the blues to pitch to Kano, right?
Yep.
The whole deck is blue for the most part, except for like red blessings and crippling
Pretty
crushes and righteous
much.
cleansings,
Yeah.
and then it can crush warrior, and then it can definitely hang with Ira too. So I think that deck definitely interests me. I also like Katsu as well.
Mm.
Just like an aggressive kind of like combo-y build with Katsu would be kind of cool. I actually have a build and I almost whipped it out today for the early tournament on stream, but I was just kind of like, I was super tired and, I was just starting to drink my coffee and I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to play what I know.
Yeah.
Um,
But that sounds really cool because I think he's pretty underused now too because what is it? His hero ability seems really nice because then you can literally, if you have two out of the three cards you need to do that full combo chain, you
yeah,
can use his ability to switch into that. And what I really like about him too is that you could always default to doing the Ira method where you just
right.
do, pitch zero, swing two Kadachis, and it's still pretty much the same thing. I mean, they're not going to want to block one damage, so you could always fall back on that. But in the beginning of the game, are you thinking of more of a combo thing where you just try to do like a 28 damage combo, or
Yeah, I think with the
what's.
combo thing with Katsu is it's like you want to try to just deal damage and be aggro.
Mhm.
Um, I'm playing around with a build that is playing like the head jab line. So you got head jabs which have go again, then it goes into like open the center, which if you play head jab, it gets go again and dominate, which is pretty cool. And then it goes into after open the center, you can play two cards. You could play either Fluster Fist,
Mhm.
which is pretty neat. Not as good as Pounding Gale though. Pounding Gale is like the good one on that line. Pounding Gale cost one and does five. It comes in for 5 damage. It has combo. If combo is active, then it reads if Pounding Gale would deal damage, it deals double that amount of damage instead.
I don't know
So
why that card costs one. Like that's ridiculous.
yeah. Well, you think about it because it's like you have to play the whole line, right?
Mhm.
You have to you have to get head jab on there to give open the center go again. There's some cards out there that can like artificially give it go again, not having combo, like playing an Artivore,
Mhm.
giving the next attack action you play go again, or you could play it off of like a flock token.
Mhm.
If you're playing like Breeze Rider Boots and your first attack action hits and it's a ninja card or something like that, and you can crack it, and then all of the ninja cards with combo, or it's like every card with combo gains go again.
Mhm.
But it's because it costs two. Naturally, it's kind of hard to give it go again unless you have that head jab to play first. So you do need like a full blue 3 resources to pitch for that whole line. And then if you want to try to like throw on buffs as well onto the Pounding Gale to really maximize some of that damage with the combo double double the damage trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about like a razor reflex, which costs another resource, which you probably pull from Tunic, or like an ancestral empowerment, which is great, which costs 0, buffs it by 1 and lets you draw a card. There's a lot of crazy combos out there. I mean, I really like Art of War too because of how like versatile it is. It says
Mm,
choose 2. You can literally choose for just one resource cost. You can choose your attack actions plus 1 attack plus 1 twice. If you have the natural combo in your hand. But I don't know if Katsu will be that viable in Blitz, only
mm-hmm.
because you have 40 cards. And it's kind of like the dash deck, right? Where like you're getting rid of cards to go get some other cards. So you're burning through your deck a lot because the boost dash deck wants to boost cards away and to banish them
Mm-hmm.
to give the attack go again. And the Katsu deck, if you want to do the Katsu ability, you have to discard a 0 cost card out of your hand to go find a card with Katsu. So you kind of like burn out of your deck kind of quickly, which isn't that great.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. You start banishing stuff, and you know, I'm kind of on the fence with the decks that are trying to just blow out the game really fast. I mean, on one hand, I feel that a newer player can totally blow out a more experienced player if you get the right cards. Like when I and this wasn't the case in this standpoint, but do you remember when we were playing Ian from Radio Reflex recently? And
Oh yeah,
he pulled out his I think it was Kaio or Reinhardt. It was a brute deck,
yeah,
and I think it was Kaio, and he just did an insane amount of damage on like
yeah,
turn one, and I was just like, "What the heck? There's just no
yeah. Which has
way."
happened to me.
You just can't. If it gets the double damage thing, then it's like, okay, that's done. I mean, but the thing is, I don't know how frequent that is to be able to compete in tournaments, because when you're playing in tournaments, and you probably know this firsthand, is you probably have to win almost every game to get into the top eight, or at least in the top four. In the top eight, you have to win pretty much every game except one, right? So
Yeah.
what do you think on those decks that try to just burst out and win the game fast? Like, do you think they have a competitive place, or do you think it's tough because if you don't get the hands you need, then you just get too many losses to go in the top eight?
Yeah, I think it really depends. Depends there. I mean, you could have a great tournament as a brute player, and you're just rolling sixes and fives and fours on scab skins. Every game. You're getting multiple action points. You're getting those blood rush bellows. You're getting those alpha rampages lined up. You're just having like crazy great turns.
Hmm.
Same with Katsu. It's like if I'm drawing like all the cards I need, I'm drawing natural combos. I'm just going off. Also, another factor in with like the Katsu build is like, in my opinion, it's like a one-time deck, right? Like I play it once, nobody has seen it before, kind of, and nobody really knows how to defend or play against it, so it just kind of wins.
Hmm.
Um, on like the basis of like nobody really knows the matchup. Um, there's a lot of factors in there in the game as well. Skill level and just reps in general as well. Like if you're playing opponents that are obviously a little bit newer into the game and you just have more experience in the game,
Hmm.
you might be able to get through some rounds and whatnot off like a really aggro deck. But the experienced players and the players that have been playing a while and that are doing really good in the tournaments and stuff like that, I think that they just naturally know just from playing so much of the game that it's not necessarily like a super aggro race,
Hmm.
and I can be ahead on tempo all game, but I can be like neck and neck with you on life. Um, and then that one turn that I stall out, I'm so far behind now because I stalled out, and now you have tempo and you have higher life than I do.
Mm.
which is a pretty big factor. So it's like you really have to be careful and go for like a long game, and just like you have to look at the matchup in the game as a whole. You have to look at it, like quarters, from like a basketball game or something, right?
Hmm.
The first quarter you're kind of just, you're doing this, in the Warrior versus Ira matchup. I'm trying as a Warrior, I'm just trying in the first second quarter. I'm just trying to get them to use up all their defense reactions, their flick flacks, their sink belows. The one yellow unmovable that gets tossed in there, which is crazy. But just tries to like thwart my plans. I'm trying to like get them to use those up, as well as survive their command and conquers, flying kicks, enlightened strikes, the torrent of tempos, those big threats that are in that deck, right?
Hmm.
And I'm also trying to pitch my cards and save my better, really like combo-y cards like that Steel Blade Supremacy, Iron Song Determination. I want to see like third, fourth quarter,
Yeah.
to really just start trying to like close out pressure.
That's a good point because they're probably going to use the cards when they have them, when they pick them up. And if
Yep.
you can bait out all of those flick flacks and all the defense reactions as Dorinthia, then later game when you get that steel blade, they're not going to have as many good stuff to block at that point. And yeah, no, I whenever you play steel blade against me, man, I wake up a little bit more. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this is a turn I need to
Whoa.
block everything. I'm just
Whoa.
dumping my hand because you
Yeah.
just can't let it hit. If it hits and it's like, well, Rob's gonna draw a card, and then if you attack again, then you're gonna draw another card, and then it's just, and then your arsenal, and then you just get so much damage through. So you just have to block everything. But what's crazy too is with what's that card? Iron Song Determination. That thing just
Yep.
makes it a beast. If you get Iron Song Determination and Steel Blade, I mean,
Yeah.
what do you do against that? Because for people who don't know, I mean that gives it dominate, and then Steel Blade gives it +2, and Iron Song gives it +1. So it's Dorinthia's weapons coming in for a 6, right?
Yep. Yep. For six. And
And
the thing
dominate.
with those two cards is they last all turn. So it's your target weapon gets, off Steel Blade Supremacy +2. And whenever it hits, you draw a card all turn. Same with Iron Song Determination, target sword or target weapon gets +1 and dominate for the entire turn, until end of turn. So those are really powerhouse, strong cards. It's definitely tough. I mean, I think in that scenario, you have to really make a decision. It's like, do I even block this here?
Mm,
If you can't, like, if you have life, if you have the ability to like block with equipment or just take it in the chin, you don't want to necessarily risk like turning on my reprise triggers. Because then when I nail like a glint the quicksilver out of arsenal because you blocked with one card, my attack's already gonna get over that one card for the most part. And then I hit glint the quicksilver, I draw another card, and now it gives my attack go again.
mm,
It's almost like you have to weigh, right? Like, what's my risk to reward here? If I get it set up late game, you're just like on the back foot because you're just trying to defend so that you don't die.
yeah,
But if it's like early game, that's why you don't necessarily want to try to pop that combo out early game, is because they can just take it. They
yeah,
can just lose the life there. And then if you don't have, a buff that doesn't rely on reprise, you're just sitting there just, wasting your big combo turn, because they can just take it.
yeah.
So
And then they just take it, and you get your stack on Dawn Blade, but then they might come at you next turn with just something even bigger that you can't get at, like, but I mean, you have a good point with the armor too. Do you think a lot of people wait, like a lot of good players against you? Do they wait until you use Steel Blade and then they pop all their armor to defend?
yeah, so I think, and this is my biggest weakness in the game right now.
Or I don't
And a
know if you
lot
want to tell people.
No,
I'm
I'll
just kidding.
definitely, I'm super open, man. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to like work on it so that I can become a better player. Um, my weakness is that I rely on my equipment. We'll call it the fridge, for example, right?
Uh-huh. I
I
like that word.
rely on the fridge too much, man. It's like I won't block from hand because I got some good cards in hand, and I just want to hang on to those cards.
Mhm.
When in reality, it's like my whole deck is made out of cards that I want to have in my deck. So they're gonna be good cards, for the most of the time in there. You really need to learn how to play not using your equipment and like not relying on blocking with your equipment till like late game.
Mm.
Um, I mean, all those pros over there on the other side of the world, they're telling me like you just need to like stop relying on the equipment. Try playing a game where like you don't block with equipment until you're like under 6 life, something like that, because you want to set it up to where it's late game. You guys are both probably at, I don't know, sub 10 life or under, like your opponent's under 15, maybe you're at like 5, right?
Mhm.
And you have the turn, you have that steel blade supremacy, twinning blade, you have that lined up or whatever, and now you can use your equipment to take that huge Kadachi flying kick for 10 in the face.
Oh.
You could take 4 of it and then block the rest of it with your equipment. Now you got a full grip of 4 plus 1 to, swing back on them with. So
I think
that's something I'm working on. Because if you blow out your equipment early, you're screwed the rest of the game. You're relying on blocking with cards from your hand, and then that player just keeps trying to apply pressure and stripping those cards out of your hand. You can't ever return the favor.
that's a good point. I think my brain just got an extra wrinkle because you know the biggest part the biggest problem, man. No, but seriously,
I like that.
no, no. Like sometimes I have
Oh,
these moments where like, ah, it kind of clicks, and
it's coming.
yeah, it's like I think I got it. Like the biggest problem with like going all in, right, is that you're gonna take it when it's the opponent's turn. But
Yeah,
if you can get them down to a certain life total and just finish them off with your big attack, then they can't do anything because the game's over. They're dead.
right, right.
So it's more like that where you're trying to get them to around like the 8 health range and then just unload when you have your good hand, then you unload. But if you have your good hand and it's like turn 2 and you're both at 18, you might want to pitch some stuff and just play it simple.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it depends on deck too, man.
Oh,
I
for
mean,
sure.
it depends on the decks and the meta and what's going on. But like, I really need to get away from breaking courage and break snapping bolsters. For the bolters turn one. I just sometimes I get like all hyped up.
Yeah.
I got the stream going. I'm fired up. Just came off a win.
You're like, "Let's
I
go.
Yeah,
Let's get
let's
it
go.
in."
I got all 5 cards ready to go. I got the one in arsenal. I got the red overpower. I got the twinning blade in hand. I'm ready to go off or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And then I do it, and then it's not as impactful as I want it to be because it's so early that they just block with whatever they can,
Mhm.
whether it be from hand, and or equipment, that it's like, or they just take it in the chin, and then they just wind up like sigilling, sigil, and
It's
like,
home.
yeah, you can bounce back from that. But when you're down, like you do your big turn, and they're down, like after your big turn, they're at like 2 life, right?
Mhm.
And they got no cards because they just blocked with everything so that they wouldn't die, or they got 1 card in the hand, they just arsenal it and pass. Now you have like tempo, and you've gotten them in a corner, and now you can come back. You could take their little 1 hit for 3 or whatever they're going to do, and then you come back like over the top. Otherwise they're just going to dump their whole hand to block you again. And
Yeah.
usually just to stay alive, usually the player that gets in the rhythm of continuously blocking like that without doing anything back or doing any kind of damage back, usually winds up losing the game.
Oh, for sure, because you just run out of more cards. Your opponent
Yeah.
pitches and attacks, and that pitch card is, one more card back into their deck where you're blocking too.
Right.
Wow, man.
All right. My beer was looking at me, saying, why don't you take a sip? Cheers, man.
Cheers, man. This has been a lot of fun. It's
Yeah,
cool.
dude.
Like
Absolutely.
you and I, I thought, how did you and AJ meet? Because I thought you guys were just friends and buddies for a while, but did you met him through Fab?
Yeah, yeah. I had never known AJ before this, neither of Alex or Ryan or any of these guys. I met AJ. I actually was going to my brother's wedding up in St. Augustine,
Hmm.
and I was playing at the Cloak, and I had our little play group at the Cloak, and that's how I knew these guys. And I was on like the Facebook side of stuff. I never even knew what Discord was before this, and I got onto the Discord because a couple guys in my group told me about it, and just didn't know how to operate or whatever. And then I joined the Flesh and Blood community, um, or hopped into like the Florida channel that I think like AJ and Alex made or something. And I think Alex reached out to me and was like, "Hey, just to let you know, we play at the Collective on Sundays." And I'm like, "Dude, no way!" Like, I called them probably a couple months ago, or a month, yeah, like a couple months ago at this time, and I was, asking him, "Hey, man, can you get me product?" And I was talking to the owner. He's like, "Yeah, yeah, I can get it." The distro said he's got it. I'm like, "Yeah, man, get it." And it just kind of like never. I think it was when Crucible was about to come out, so it was like kind of like a pre-order thing, and I just kind of like I didn't go through with it or whatever. And then come to find out a couple months later, they hit me up and they're like, "Yeah, we started the Flesh and Blood over there." And I was like up in St. Augustine at a wedding that actually my parents had bought me two boxes of Arcane Rising, which was super cool as like
Oh,
a
nice.
surprise gift. Yeah, it was super nice of them. So I'm like cracking. My girl is getting ready for the wedding. I'm already ready. I'm in my suit in the hotel room, cracking like first edition Arcane,
Oh yeah.
before I go to this wedding, which was cool. That was back then when there was only first edition. There was no unlimited yet. But yeah, I'm like reading this Discord message, and they're like, "Yeah, come by some time and play." And I was like, "Oh, this is super cool. I'm gonna meet more people." And then I went and went with one of my buddies, Festus. Him and I started playing at the Cloak together, and we went over to the Collective and checked that out, and just met these guys, man, and it was it from there. They had been playing for a little bit there, a couple months there, and they got the OP program started up there, and just from the get-go we were on the same wavelength, like
Hmm.
gameplay wise, right? Like these guys, it seemed like we were pretty much like on the same like level of like skill, and like where we wanted to go with the game, and like get like more competitive and serious with it. So it was really cool for me, especially like just going out on a limb. I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty social guy, so it's not a big deal for me. But I like doing that stuff, like going out and just meeting people, and just sparking up conversation,
Hmm.
playing some games with these guys. I mean, the guys are great, and just kind of clicked with them. And then they were really, really kind, invited me back to this boardroom, little conference room space, and we just played games after that for a while, and just kind of clicked with them, man. So that's how I met AJ and the rest of the guys, and I'm happy I did, man. I'm happy that they reached out to me via Discord.
That's awesome. Yeah, the Florida scene seems pretty big, and I can't believe it. It's cool that there's a couple places like the Cloak and the Collective that they gave Flesh and Blood a shot. I mean, I thought that was huge because I talked to this cool stuff I think back
Yeah,
in November, and the guy's like,
yeah,
"We've heard of it, we're thinking about it," and I was like, "Okay," but yeah, I mean. It's cool to hear that those shops are really cool, and hearing the stories from AJ saying the collective was just so nice, and say, yeah, we'll give it a shot. Sounds good. We'll order some, and yeah, I mean, really panned out. But
yeah. That was huge, man. And those owners, the owner over at the Collective's awesome guy. It's same with everyone that works there. Everyone's super cool. It's been going well, man. I mean, they got Flesh and Blood on the very front door under a Sunday event. You know what I mean? It's the very top first day of the week, I guess. Sunday,
mm,
and yeah, it's awesome, man. These guys run it really well. AJ is like the judge. Alex handles like all the paperwork, if you will. The online pairings and stuff like that, and it's awesome, man. It's a great community. We continuously have new players come out all the time, which is great. I mean, I met two new guys today, Quinn and Kyle.
hmm.
They came out and played. Really nice guys there. It looked like they had dabbled in a little bit of like Crucible of War, so they had a little bit of those cards, which was great that they were able to get some of that.
Did they know
And they
you?
had
Did they like? Oh wow, it's Tolarian
nah,
Dropouts.
nah,
No,
nah, 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 man,
it could
nothing,
happen
nothing.
one day,
No,
man. With the amount of people
oh
getting
man,
this game. Nah.
oh man, yeah. I don't know. Maybe one day, but I definitely like to stay humble, man. You know what I mean? I'm just
I'm
a
with you,
player
man.
that, yeah, you know what I mean. I'm just a player trying to play the game, do
I'm just
well
the
at it.
normal guy in a normal room. Like
Yeah, yeah. Look, I got nothing on the walls, man. You know what I mean? There's nothing back there. I'm gonna
yeah.
keep it like that. I don't got some crazy neon Tolarian dropouts light. Which, hey, you never know. Maybe somebody will buy me one day. So, but yeah, man, we'll keep it like that. But yeah, the new players that are coming out are awesome. And I can't thank them enough because I wouldn't have a game to play without those new players coming. And the
Yeah.
more people you have in like armory events, right? The more rounds you can play and the more XP you can get, so it's a win for everybody. I was, lucky enough to like open enough unlimited to where I have like a lot of extra like bulk majestics and supers and stuff like that. So the players that come locally, I'll talk to them after the event and be like, what deck are you playing? I'll take a look through their decks and stuff like that. And a lot of them have had issues trying to get into Crucible, which is, understandable because there's
Mm,
no unlimited currently. But I've definitely given out cards to numerous people. I mean, maybe not everybody, but I've definitely given cards out to almost everybody at some point. Whether it be like a promo or that a player really wanted or something, or like a guy today, he needed two remembrances for his Viscerai deck. He's got the Viscerai OTK deck, and he approached me about trades, and I have everything that I need currently. So I was like, yeah, I'm not really looking for anything, but I'd be happy to give you these. You know what I mean? Just
oh,
he's
that's
like,
really nice of you, man.
yeah, for sure. I'm not looking, not looking for anything from it, but he's like, are you sure you don't want anything? And I'm like, just continue to come.
Yeah.
Just keep coming, man. That's all I want out of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just keep coming, play the game, enjoy the game. If you ever need anything, just let me know. I'm just a regular guy. There's another younger guy at our shop named Josh, really cool guy. He got into the game. His dad got him into the game. We taught him how to play. He picked up Ninja, so we threw him some ancestral empowerments. it's all about spreading the community. And in this game, which is great, is like you wind up, and if you open up a good amount of product,
Mhm.
you end up with like a bunch of extra like majestics and bulk, if you will.
Or
I'm not gonna
commons.
go, yeah, oh, commons for sure. I'm not gonna turn around and sell those cards for 5, 10, 15 bucks a piece. And a lot of people do and make money out of it, and I'm not knocking that. I would either rather keep them or give them out to new players, or if I need something down the road, trade bait and stuff like that. But it's definitely more of a benefit, dude, to get more players involved in the game so that we have a game in 5 years from now, a nice big healthy game, big tournaments that we can go to. And I think that's what it's all about, man.
What do you think that you want to see soon, man? And like, what do you think of the game to make it more like player focused? And I first want to say comment on what you said. You sound like the most amazing guy, man. That because remembrances are like $15 a piece. Like this,
Yeah.
dude, you're you're a
They
spot
weren't
on
foil or
guy.
anything. Don't worry. They
Dude,
were not
still,
foil.
still, I mean, those are those are good cards, and
Yeah.
nah, that's good on you, man. And it's really good to give back, and I mean, that I almost have a tear in my eye. That's that's awesome. No, because you're
Yeah,
right. I
man.
mean, it's good to get people playing the game and getting people to come out, like you said. And I mean, but to the point of like new people coming into the game, and especially with like card availability and whatnot. Like what do you think would be really good in the future? Coming into Monarch, especially because like people are worried that they're just not going to get anything, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of worried about that too. I mean, when you see the TCG player 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
buyouts. I mean, have you got yours yet?
No, no. So
Ah,
I was lucky enough to get some really early pre-orders with a couple companies, and I ordered a pretty large amount of product. But yeah, so like for first edition whatnot, I don't. I'll be honest with you. I'm a player. I don't know if I'm gonna open up a whole ton of first edition. The cold foils are
mm,
great, but I personally like the look of the rainbow foil cards.
I'm with
Um,
you.
the cold foils, they look beautiful, but I think that's more of like a collector thing, for me at least. And it's
Mhm.
different. There was a point in time where I was playing with all my cold foils. I since then actually got rid of all the cold foils. I don't really own any cold foils anymore. I think I own just like a Metacarpus node cold foil that I pulled out of a Crucible pack at a prize support like a couple weeks ago from the cloak, which was pretty sweet.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah, but I'm a player, man. I'm gonna play with. I do like to pimp my deck out and and foil the deck out in unlimited. But yeah, I mean, I'm personally more excited for Monarch Unlimited,
Mhm.
um, from a player standpoint. Um, I definitely think the first edition stuff will be really cool. I'll break open a good amount of it too, just to get that feel of first edition product, man. When you break out that cold foil, it's like, oh, this is so cool. But yeah, I'm personally really excited for Monarch Unlimited. I'm not 100% excited that there's going to be maybe not a huge gap, but about a 3 weeks or so, given no shipping delays. So I'm really and realistically thinking maybe a month and a week till that gap between first edition and unlimited. But yeah, I mean the game's growing in popularity. The demand for the product is like skyrocketing
It's through the
at a
roof.
yeah, dude, at a rate that like nobody saw coming. There's just so many factors that are just driving this thing, with things that don't even have to do with the game, just world things
Mm.
currently. But yeah, I'm really excited, man, for for Monarch Unlimited. The everything is gonna be in Unlimited that's in first edition except for cold foils. And being a player, man, I'm excited to rip open some of these rainbow foils, man. I want to go get a rainbow foil gem, the fabled, and see if it's any good. You know what I mean? Like, and
Oh, they
play
look
that thing.
beautiful. I got a rainbow foil eye, and honestly, I'm with you,
Yeah,
man. I think rainbow foiling looks better than cold foiling. I mean, they both
yeah,
look very beautiful. I'm not gonna, both of them look great, but I kind of prefer the rainbow foil, especially on some cards like tectonic plating. It just really makes it pop. That
yeah,
armor.
yeah.
It's just
Aesthetically, really looks good.
yeah, it's just so good. But yeah, I feel you, man. It's gonna be good when Unlimited comes out, and hopefully everyone is able to get it. And it's widely available. And I wonder what the
Yeah,
OP is gonna look like, because Skirmish ends right
yeah,
before Monarch release, and then Monarch releases, but then I don't know if there's gonna be. I guess there's gonna be maybe a hazy period where everyone's trying to figure out what decks they want to build. But then, do you think there's gonna be more organized play over more tournament stuff?
yeah, yeah. I definitely think in the U.S., especially coming, hopefully, fingers crossed, more away from the effects of COVID, and really trying to, like, figure that out and get past it. Hopefully, like, as we kind of get back to more normal,
Hmm.
um, organized play will open back up, and do stuff like Road to Nats, and maybe callings or something.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
because
I've
I can't wait, dude, to travel across the country, man. Playing these things.
oh yeah. And can you imagine if the calling, if they had it in Orlando? Oh
Yeah,
man.
I can imagine it, dude. And the way LSS does things is they want to support the local game store, right?
Hmm.
Like, they're not gonna have. I could be wrong, but I just don't see them having a major company. I'm not gonna say who. Uh, they run other card game events, um, exclusively in their
Hmm.
major events, but I just see Legend Story Studios having these major road to nationals, callings at individual local game stores to really support those shops, barring that they would be able to hold hold the event there in the space. Obviously, again, all that's going to be really, like, dependent on how things go the rest of this year with the current situation and pandemic that we've been experiencing. But yeah, man, I'm super excited. I think it's just gonna be amazing. I can't stress it enough, man. I just, like, I get like a spark in my eye, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, yes,
So pumped.
yes, I'm
I feel you,
pumped.
man.
We've been playing these webcam events, TTS events, man. I'm ready to go meet and play face to face with all these great players that I've met and, created great relationships with over the past, couple months, man. In person, it's just gonna be epic.
It
Going to a
is.
big.
And it's cool because if it wasn't with the internet, right? You and
Yeah,
we would be meeting in these places for the first time, and it would be really hard to like understand each other and everything. But since we've had all these interactions with you, and AJ and everyone else, it's going to be so much better because now we're like, oh, Rob, let's go, let's get some. We know each other. It's not like we had to play a game and figure it out, and then weeks go by before we hang out again. It's these relationships are formed very fast online, I think, and
yeah,
from the stories you've told me, I felt the same way, man. It's like you could definitely get into this game, and you really don't have to know anyone. You just reach out to people in the community because it's so small, and you're like, yo, let's hang out, let's
yeah,
do stuff, and yeah, I mean, it's a really cool time, and yeah, it's hard to imagine too, like how how fast this game is progressing, and I think you have a good point too with that big place that shall be nameless that might sell Crucible War boxes for $800 a piece.
For way too much.
Yeah, I think, I think if I can, paint a picture here, it's like Flesh and Blood is a little caterpillar, right? And they're going up the tree, and that big store who shall not be nameless is like the chrysalis for the caterpillar, and it like needed it to metamorphosize the caterpillar for a couple months. But then the caterpillar is going to get outside of it and become a butterfly and leave the chrysalis and
Yeah,
go to the
yeah,
local game stores and hold stuff there. Who knows how that'll play out? I don't know.
yeah. Yeah, from what I know is that pre-pandemic shops were selected for like road to nats or like callings.
Hmm,
Um so that was their original plan. We'll see if they stick with it, moving in the future, but I got all the faith in this company, man.
same.
Um
I mean,
yeah,
when
this
you
is
see like Moontown Games sell Flesh and Blood when they've only sold Magic the Gathering for for however long they've done it, and
yeah.
they did that like last week or something. It just blows my mind of wow, if they think this game's something, it's just I can't imagine how much hype and I mean you've been back in the past, you've been around longer than I have in Flesh and Blood, and I think that in 2021 it's been really really silent. And I think Legend Story Studios does this on purpose, man. They hold back all their good marketing and all their good stuff, so when Monarch releases, you know it too, man. You were around for
Oh yeah.
Unlimited. They're just gonna bombard us with ridiculous information, day after day after day, and it's just
Oh
gonna get
yeah.
even more hyped.
Yeah, yeah. The interest spikes and market spikes and value of like the game so far has just been crazy to go through it. It's like
Yeah.
an email comes out or an announcement comes out. This big store picked up the game. This big store picked up the game. Everybody's freaking out, losing their minds. Their toasters are on fire. You know
They're
what I'm
throwing their
saying?
credit card at their screen like,
Yeah,
take my
take
money.
my credit card already. They're loading up the Dogecoin rocket. They're
Yeah.
ready to go to the moon.
Because how does it
And
feel, man? You literally you can look back like 4 months ago. You were opening up Arc first edition boxes that are like what,
yeah,
like over $2,000 now. Like you
yeah,
were opening up
yeah,
$2,000 boxes. That's so cool. And I was talking to
yeah,
Matt the other day from the collective,
yeah,
and he opened a Heart of Fandel on screen on his
yeah,
stream, and that's just insane to have that moment and look back on that now and think, wow, like he has that forever, man. He opened that card, and I don't know, it's just quite a
yeah,
time.
yeah. That's it's definitely no. Nobody saw it, right?
No.
Like nobody saw this coming. I traded. For an example, like I traded a Mana Crypt that I got in a double Masters booster box that I probably bought from my local game store, like Walmart or something.
Hmm.
It probably cost me $10 or $15. I traded this Mana Crypt for a Storm Striders, a cold foil Storm Striders, because it was worth probably about $70 at the time. And I traded a Mana Crypt for that. It's a
Wow.
magic card that, was, a little bit more expensive at the time. Um, and then in turn, in like a couple months, like maybe not even months, excuse me, like a couple weeks later, another guy was like, "Hey, I need a Storm Striders. Um, I'll trade you an Alpha box of Wraith for it." Traded that. It was about even. I don't know. Like I traded him the Storm Striders for the box of Wraith. Got the box of Wraith, opened it up, got hosed, got nothing in it. Like
Ah,
no cold foil, nothing. But it's just like I got a box of Wraith in trade of a card that I got out of a pack for probably like $10 or $15.
yeah.
And early on, man, like especially in the Facebook groups, and a little bit in the Discord groups, I was trading so much with people doing trades, buying cards and stuff. And that's kind of like where I made like my early connections with people around the country before like playing.
Hmm.
But that was super cool, man. And it's like kind of crazy looking back on it now, like you said, right? You know, it's like it's crazy to think that I was driving down an hour away from here and I go to the shop that just literally it had one sealed box of Wraith and then one open box of Wraith, but with all 24 packs in it. Like, and I just kept driving down to that shop and hitting them up for all their product because nobody was buying it except for me. Um, bring it back home, instantly rip it open. You know, I could
Yeah.
have sat on that product and made a lot of money, but I'm really happy that I opened that product, got in the game, started playing.
That's awesome, man. And yeah, I mean, there is a sense, and I think that in the past that collectability and the monetary value side has been really focused on a lot because it's just the hot thing, and the ridiculousness of it, of these cards, like you said, you got a card from a $10 pack, you trade it up, and it just becomes insane. So people are looking at that, but I think there's a converse side of that. There's reasoning behind the increase in price. And of course, it is because of supply. The supply is pretty low in general compared to how big the game is or how big the people in it. But the reason why I think people are buying and people are spending as much money is because it's a really damn good game. And when you have
Yeah.
people like us who are grown ass men who think, wow, this game's amazing, I just want as much as possible. And if you think of, okay, well, if there's another grown ass man out there who has like a huge bank account, you know for
Yeah.
sure if you were that guy or if I was that guy, we'd be buying, pallets worth. Like,
Yeah.
you were going to the store every day, right? Getting a bunch of boxes and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yep. Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, and that's, where like the investors started coming in, it's like this game's a perfect storm, right? Cuz you got a lot of players that one have been in Magic a long time or kind of brings back that nostalgia of when they were a kid, 25 years ago or when they were younger and Magic first came out, 25, 30 years ago, whatever it was, and they were getting into this game and games have come out in the past, right? Card games have come and gone, but this like just looks and feels um looks more like that early Magic what it was. The gameplay is completely different,
Mm,
but it's just that nostalgia of, okay, like it got, the brand new set, Welcome to Wraith Alpha, it's out. Go check it out. And you get that feeling of that feeling of like I was there when it was coming out. I was there playing. I was in the beginning before all these crazy, rocket to the moon emoji,
yeah.
price spikes were going nuts. And it's just really cool, man. It's the gameplay is incredible.
And
Just
that's the
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the amazing intangible part too with what we're doing, especially, and just being there from the beginning, that feeling. But also, I was there opening the packs, but
Yeah.
also us, putting stuff out on the internet, like videos and stuff, saying, "Hey, we were not only there, but hey, look at all the stuff we did," and interacting with the community and starting this shit up. And it's really cool, man. And so what are your plans for, are you really gearing up towards worlds with the world tournament eventually, man? Is that your end, what's your end goal with competing, man? Is that your golden goose?
Yeah, yeah, I think, dude, I would be flattered to go to Worlds. We don't know what that kind of entails yet or where it's gonna be. But if I have the opportunity to go, like if I win an invite, a PTQ or a Pro Tour invite or whatever it is, to go play in one of these events, man, I'm there. I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I'm definitely gonna be playing in like all these Road to Nats tournaments when these come back. I'm gonna play in all these calling tournaments when those come back. I'm gonna do everything I can, man, to just be there, and I'm just gonna give it my all, man. I mean, that's it, and that's all I can do. It's like we were having a conversation earlier. That's like I want to do it, and I want to do it 110%. I want to
Mm,
give it my all. I don't want to look back on it after it's done and be like, oh well, I could have tried harder. You know what I mean? Or
yeah.
I could have I could have done this. I really didn't put in as much effort as I could have. And I think that's just I'm a very competitive person naturally. And I just never I don't want to do it half ass, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's either I'm gonna do it 110%, man, or I'm just not gonna do it at all. Uh and that way if I do fail or if I don't get there, I can look back on it and say, well, hey man, at least I tried, at least I gave it my all. You know what I mean? Because that's all you can do in life, right? Is just try your hardest.
Damn, I
So
love that. I love that spirit you have, man. That's really cool. And I mean, just even with a nationals win, right? If you get a national win under your belt with Dorinthia, right? Then you are a
yeah.
living legend. You were
Yeah, that would
one
be
out
cool,
of
man.
10 people ever to have gotten that, right? Because after 10
Yeah.
wins, she's done.
Yeah, that hero gets retired. Yeah, that's I haven't heard the living legend thing brought up in quite some time. So that's really cool that you brought it up. It's a very interesting way of them to eventually be able to like rotate heroes out in a
Mm,
non-rotating format style game, which is really cool. It's going to take a while before these heroes roll out, but yeah, it's definitely gonna be cool. I mean, that would be some feat, man. If I could compete in that high level one day and take down some really big tournament. I mean, I would be ecstatic just to be there at
yeah.
like nationals. You know what I mean? Um, I'm definitely gonna try my hardest. You got to win an invite. I think you got to like top eight one of like the callings or the road to Nats to get an invite to nationals.
Hmm.
um, I'm gonna try my hardest, man. I'm gonna keep playing in everyone that I can until I get that invite.
I'm gonna be
Uh,
cheering you on, man. And I mean,
yeah, I
as
appreciate
as
that.
a person who's a competitor, I mean, there's no better intangible wealth that I could ever see other than like you having literally your bio under Dorinthia saying, "Hey, Rob, Tolarian Dropouts.
That'd
This
be
is his
sweet,
backstory. He won this national tournament, and he's one out of only 10." Because people don't really grasp that yet, I think, because it hasn't happened yet. Nobody's
right?
won 10 times with a hero and they've been retired, and they don't realize that, hey, after that 10th win, there's literally no one else who's going to win a national tournament with that hero. It gets
Right.
retired, it's done. So those 10 people are permanently on Legend Story Studio site. They are, there forever. And I mean, that to me is just really cool. I mean,
Yeah, man. Yeah, I totally agree there. Yeah, that would be a huge accomplishment, man. I know guys like Matt Rogers. He took down nationals in New Zealand, and Jacob Pearson, took down the recent calling and
mm,
some other tournaments, and a slew of names over there. Kale and Nick over in Australia, and just a bunch of guys. Tom Penny, fellow Warrior player. These guys they win these events. Get their invites. The guys that run Session Blood, those guys are super cool. Kieran and Carol.
oh, they're really cool.
They're there too, man. Jordan, Jordan just got third at the calling. These guys are grinding it out, man. I hope to be at that level and play in those events, man, here in the United States and represent our country in worlds one day, man. That'd be insane.
Yeah, I'll definitely be cheering you on, man. You're a good guy. Anything else you want to say before we wrap things up? I appreciate you talking with me so long, man. You're a really cool guy, and I just love to see that spirit because I'm not gonna you know pretend like I definitely like collecting a lot. I like set collecting and I like the beautiful artwork and I play lightly, but I've never had that spirit, but seeing it in you is kind of I'm living vicariously through you. I think in a
Yeah.
way, seeing you grinding out. Because, dude, I think it was like I think it was like 2 weeks ago. I saw you were playing in Kentucky, and then the next day you were playing in Sweden, and then you were
Yeah,
playing like
yeah.
you had like 4 tournaments over a weekend. And I was like, yeah, Rob's got that grind. I love it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, I love to see that grind and that competitive spirit. I just wanted to sum it up there. But anything
Yeah,
else you
man.
wanted to
Appreciate
plug
that,
at
dude.
the end? I mean, you run an amazing YouTube channel with your Tolarian Dropouts. You're streaming all your games,
Thank you,
which is
man.
awesome.
Thank you.
And yeah, I look more forward to that stuff. But yeah, what do you want to plug?
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. And I just want to thank you for taking the time out to chat with me and hang out, dude. Knock a cold one back. I love spending time hanging out with you, playing games or just chatting, whatever it is, man. I really appreciate appreciate you reaching out and just building this friendship that we have together. I think like something that I would want to plug, man. Just I guess would be my channel, dude. Tolarian Dropouts. Check that out. We're definitely gonna be streaming all the skirmishes that I can get in the rest of the season. So some pretty good content on there. I think I'm always looking for ways to make it better. So shoot me some comments on there. Tell me what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see more of. Just the basics, man. Definitely check out AJ's channel too, man. We've been talking about AJ a
Oh
lot.
yeah.
Check out AJ's channel, Adventure Code Gaming. You got Bronson and AJ on there. They just commentated over this. My local game shop, their skirmish this weekend. The collective, they did a bang up job, phenomenal job there. Can't stress that channel enough. Adventure Code Gaming, and then Bronson's channel as well. Some great content all around. These guys are awesome. I'm happy to try to get in and share a small sliver of the pie that these guys have definitely created with content for Flesh and Blood for you guys out there, the players and the collectors, and just anybody interested in the game. So I can't thank you guys enough for inspiring me to kind of try to dabble in what y'all do perfectly. So appreciate it.
Oh no, man! I'm still learning too, man. I'm just a normal guy. We're all Florida man, right?
Yeah, let's go. Yeah,
Yeah.
infamous Florida man. Let's go. The old handshake.
Yeah. I'm gonna use a taco as my driver's license. Let's go. But
Oh yeah,
yeah, no, AJ does a bang up job, and I love what he's doing too. He's doing a lot of gameplay, and man, co-hosting with him was really sick. I mean, the way he has that
yeah,
whole setup, and it looks like an actual TV show. It was really cool, and I really respect the heck out of that too, because I'm not very aesthetically inclined. I hate that kind of stuff. I'm just not good at it, and I don't really care to. Well, I'm trying to do a little bit better personally, but just seeing that whole setup was really cool, and seeing what you guys are doing, it just really makes me happy because I mean, we've talked about a little collectability and all the monetary value and stuff, but just seeing people come out there and just put content up on YouTube, just like, hey, this is me playing the game. Let's
yeah,
have fun. I want to put this out there so people can see how to play and learn, and that's so important for people, especially new
yeah.
players
I
getting in the
agree,
game
man.
because when you're getting to a game, I mean, there's so much of you wanting to do it yourself, but there's so much knowledge other people already have that you really can really siphon off of in a way. And I did in college, man, when I was trying to like learn how to work out and stuff. I found like the biggest guy in my classroom, and I was like, "Yo, you want to work out?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And he showed me what to do. So there's a lot of stuff like that. So I think you guys have really good channels to learn Flesh and Blood gameplay, man. And I just love seeing what you guys are doing. There's always plenty of room for people to come in, but no,
Oh
I
yeah,
think you guys are gonna get like lot more people coming on playing
yeah.
the game and learning, man. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you in nationals, Rob. You and AJ and
Hey, yeah, man. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
gonna be
Hopefully one day, dude. Hopefully you'll be there. Either competing or hanging out with us. You know what I mean? Because That's a whole nother thing that I'm looking forward to, man. Is this like this circuit of road to nats or nats or callings where it's like you're meeting up with everybody that you already know, you've had these relationships with.
Mm,
You're going out for drinks, you're getting food after events, you're hanging out in hotel rooms, when things are safe, you know what I mean? And it's like, you're doing a draft in the hotel room, you're playing on the floor, you know what I mean? Just
yeah.
like I can't wait, dude. It's gonna be one hell of a time, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be a blast. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it, and yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch.
Yeah, man. I gotta hit you with this, the old virtual
Yeah,
handshake.
virtual handshake.
Let's
Where did
go.
that come? That was new, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I
I love
just
it.
I try to, when I
Virtual
finish my game, dude, just try to, yeah, the old high
high
five.
five.
High five, yeah. The old handshake, dude. You just Yeah,
I
man.
love it
All
because you
right,
don't
dude.
even see anything. Yeah, you just see like the little
Yeah, you
hand
just
come out.
you just see the hand come out right under the webcam, and I'm like, let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, thanks,
Cool, man.
man.
Yeah, dude. All right, brother.
Peace.
Take care, dude. Thanks, bro. Peace.